love the game. I love the hustle, man.
Hey, we back like we never left. Now I'm talking about. Yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We here.
Yo, what's good? I go by the name of Stealth, man. Hey, man. Finally back. I know, I know all of y'all who really been rocking with us and like who been on this channel, been subscribed and watched our videos. Like, man, we've been going the whole NBA season. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but if y'all want a quick explanation, I had some health stuff going on that I had to address, and for me, that kind of like everything I was doing kind of took a back seat. It probably shouldn't have, but I was just really focused on getting everything right with myself. I'm the dope boy. He has some stuff going on as well that he was taking care of. I'm not gonna volunteer, unless he wants to tell y'all, but I know what was going on. Teddy White, who was supposed to be here today with us, but he has some stuff going on. We all just had stuff going on, so we pretty much missed the whole NBA season. But the good thing is we have the NBA Finals coming up here this week. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. And
yes, sir.
Man, we got the NBA Finals coming up on Thursday, so we're definitely gonna talk about that. Dope boy, what's good though? What's good with my brother, man? It feels so good.
Man, I'm good up over here, man. Enjoying this beautiful weather, man. Sun's out, birds are chirping. Glad
summertime,
to be back on this podcast.
Summertime.
What I'm saying? Yeah, definitely sometimes coming up for sure.
Man, it's beginning hot up here in Sacramento. What's the weather like down there?
I heard. Well, I'm down here I'm closer to this water now. So
okay.
me being
cooler,
over here close to this water and not being in the valley really too much, it's cooler over here.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, once I get back out to the valley, it's gonna be pushing back up to the triple digits as well. In the next couple of days or so.
Oh yeah. You're gonna feel something. I know you like the heat anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I do. I love it.
I love
it, man.
I know you're ready for the summertime. But man. So like I said, we back. Appreciate you guys checking out this podcast. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, comment. Feel free to comment on any of the topics that we touch on today. So the first topic that we are going to touch on, of course, is the NBA Finals, right?
Yes,
like I said, we got those. Game 1 is coming up on this Thursday. By the way, I hate how we have to I know it's like TV sponsors and NBA and all that, but I hate that we have a set date for the finals. I just wish it was once both conference finals are over, get straight to it, man, like how it used to be back in the day. But we've been waiting. Well, at that point, it'd be over a week. I want to say
over a week now.
The Western Conference Finals were over last Wednesday, Thursday? I think Wednesday, right?
Yep.
I think Wednesday.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so both teams are getting a lot of rest, but I think these are the two teams that I picked. And I know y'all don't know, but if we were on here, I would have picked the Mavericks and I would have picked Boston. A lot of people were talking about man, nobody picked the Mavericks. I honestly did. I picked the Mavericks. I know you remember Dope Boy. I said Mavericks and Boston. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I said Mavericks and Boston, and that's the matchup we were getting. I felt like once the Mavericks made that trade in February, that they got what they needed. And PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and then Lively, he came alive. You know what I'm saying?
He came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
sure.
Catching those oops, rebounding the ball, doing the dirty work. He's definitely what that team needs. So, man, let's just talk about the matchup a little bit. The Mavericks versus the Celtics, man. What do you think about this matchup? And we'll get to MVP, what I'm saying, all that stuff later. But who do you have winning, and what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, honestly, I definitely am surprised that the Mavs did go ahead and get there. To be honest, just because of who they were going against, with the Wolves and the T-Wolves. I felt like at the time, with the three-headed monster, basically.
You got bit by that bug, huh? You got bit by that bug,
Definitely did. Definitely. I mean, you got to think they had the two Twin Towers. Then you had, Anthony Edwards that was there too as well. I don't know what happened and how they fell apart, but it didn't look good at all. And the Mavs are where they are right now, and they deserve, especially after they made those trades. And Lively, man, I don't know where this boy came about of, but I'll give him credit. 110%.
And I want to say somebody was saying the other day they moved up in the draft to get him last year. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure.
Yes, they did.
I'm not sure. I would have to go look and see where they drafted him at, but I want to say they moved up to get him. So they knew that the big center position was something that they needed to address.
Yeah, that they needed for sure. I thought they were undersized, man. You know what I mean? Before they made the trade, and then before they went ahead and drafted Lively, but I definitely felt like they were undersized at that time. But the GM for the Mavs made some great moves down the stretch to help these Mavs team out to get them to where they're at right now.
Absolutely.
it's definitely going to be a good matchup. You know, you got Holiday against Kyrie. You got Tatum against Luka.
I think no. I think Holiday is going to be on Luka. That's
okay. You think that's where it's going to be at?
I think Holiday is going to be on Luka. I'm not sure where.
Okay.
Tatum's probably going to be on PJ Washington. That's probably
okay.
I mean, of course, they're going to be switches. Of course, they're going to be switches and stuff like that. But I feel like the main assignments are going to be Drew Holiday on Luka. I feel like Derek White's going to be on Kyrie.
Yes.
You know, and probably the same way. I could see Luka guarding Drew Holiday because Drew Holiday is not really like a crazy offensive threat, and you know you don't want Luka, you know, exerting too much energy on the defensive end, especially
right.
But I guarantee you they're going to try to get him switched on Tatum and Jaylen Brown and stuff like that. But yeah,
create that mismatch problem for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a good matchup. I honestly feel like this is gonna be the year that Boston actually wins it. I know they had got there a couple years back and lost, but I honestly do feel like they're gonna go ahead and really get in here. And I know they haven't really been looking too good during the playoffs year so far. You know, I know they had their ups and downs. I know that they look good at times, and there's times where they play down to their competition. You know, and you're like, hey, look, what are you guys doing?
So you think Boston wins this?
Yes.
How many games?
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I said a sweep, but I'll give Dallas maybe one or two games.
You said a sweep?
Max. I feel like it's gonna be.
What makes you think it's gonna be so lopsided?
Because I just feel like, you know, I just feel like they have the talent wise to propel them, and me personally, if I were them, I wouldn't want to go ahead and play around with a group like this.
Okay.
You know, you open up the door. If you do play around, you play down to the competition, or you have an off night, man, you know, you can go ahead and consider this going down to 6 or 7 games easily if you want to go ahead and play that route. Now, if you want to go ahead and just get it done and over with, they might get one in Dallas. But I honestly don't really see that going more than 1 or 2 games, honestly. So I'd say 4-1 maybe.
Well, damn, that's crazy because my personal opinion is I feel like it's going to go 7.
Dang.
I feel like it's going 7.
The reason why I don't think it go 4-0 in the sweep, I just don't think the NBA would want that.
I don't see a sweep either way though, and the reason I feel like I'm be real, man. I'm calling Boston in 7, but I'm not really like married to that.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because I really feel like the Dallas Mavericks are a really good team. Again, we talked about those trades they made at the trade deadline back in February when they got Daniel Gafford and they got PJ Washington. Daniel Gafford, he's dirty work guy, rebound, not the biggest guy, but he's what they need. Him and Lively, and Lively, and that's the thing. They sub in for each other. They're almost very similar players. They rim run, they catch oops, they screen well. Both of them.
Yes.
You know, that's what you need those guys to do when you have
and when you got 2 passers
like Luka and Kyrie. You know what I mean?
As good as Luka and Kyrie, you know what I mean? It's going to definitely help them out for sure to be able to go ahead and get those lives and fast breaks and things.
Those pick and rolls, they're not, you know, pick and rolls, definitely. And PJ Washington, if he runs a pick, you got to worry about him because he can run and he can also step out and pop that mid range or hit that 3. Also, too, if you double off Kyrie or double on Kyrie, or if you double on Luka, now that's leaving PJ open. You know what I mean? We've yet to mention Derek Jones Jr., who can also catch oops, who can also high flyer, hit the 3. Him and PJ, so it's like both of them can hit the 3. He's becoming a better shooter, Derek Jones Jr.
Derek Jones, I agree.
I actually like the player he's becoming. I know before he was just kind of considered a dunker, but I feel like he's becoming a 3-and-D guy.
He's adding more. He's adding more versatility to his game.
Having that athletic 3-and-D guy on your team. You know, so he's gonna be busy guarding Jaylen Browns and the Tatums and stuff like that. So
yes, sir.
I do feel like if we're talking about bench, neither one has a crazy bench. Al Horford is probably going to come off the bench now that Porzingis is coming back. So
Porzingis does play. So if he does play, then I think Horford will go to the bench.
I think he's going to play, but let's just say he does. So Horford's going to be that 6th man. And then after that, they really don't have a lot. I mean, you got Pritchard, you got Hauser, Cornette. I mean, Boston's bench isn't like, you're not really scared of that bench.
Not as deep. They're not as deep.
But even the Mavericks, Mavericks ain't not really scared of them either.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're kind of just looking at about 5-6 players, you know, each. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, of course, each are going to go to their bench. Pritchard, he can get hot for the Boston Celtics.
Yes, he can.
I've seen
he can get hot for sure.
He can get hot. He's a pretty good playmaker too. So you know, he might cause some issues.
And like I said, you know, the old man Al. It's crazy to call him old man, but you know, he's been.
I remember. You know what's crazy about you saying that? I remember watching him in was it Florida Gators?
Yeah.
But I remember watching him, and now we're calling him old man, like about to retire. I'm like, damn, that makes me feel old. But
crazy.
It's like
exactly.
But it's like, nah. But I don't know, man. I feel like the Dallas Mavericks can really they might surprise some people, man. I feel like they can win the series. And again, like going back to Boston, I feel like Boston, like I told you through text, and we talked about it, Boston be playing with their food. And for anybody who don't know what playing with their food means, that means that sometimes they don't like keep their foot on the necks of their opponent. Sometimes they play down to the competition. Sometimes they, you know, some of these games that you were like, oh yeah, Boston's gonna blow them out. Sometimes these games are closer. We could look at the last series they had with Indiana when Halliburton was out. I want to say those last two games were pretty close. One of them might have been a blowout.
Too close.
I'm like Nebhart had like 30 points. You know what I'm saying? He was great. I had him on my fantasy team that night.
They were definitely playing around.
Playing around
too much. They should. You know, Halliburton's not in there. Siakam hadn't really been playing well that whole series. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why are you allowing these guys to still stick around?
So
you know, that should have been something that should have been taken care of the minute Halliburton went down. Like, all right, cool. Halliburton's down. This is their best player. Let's get busy. Let's get the series over with so we can go ahead and get back to Boston and get ready to play whoever we need to go ahead and play.
Let me ask you this. If they do that same thing, how they did with the Pacers, kind of play down the competition, playing for their food. And also, too, one point I want to make about the Boston Celtics, they live and die by that three. If that three ball's not falling, remember how last year when I felt like they were better than the Heat and the Heat beat them? Because, you know what I'm saying? So they're a lot of these series that they're in, they're favored. They were favored against the Warriors, I believe, when they played in the finals a couple years ago. Lost that.
They were.
Last year, lost to the Heat when they probably shouldn't have. You know what I mean? So,
definitely.
I feel like this is the best team that they face in this last 2-3 year run, even better than the Warriors, in my opinion. What's your thoughts on that?
That speaks volumes if you say they're better than the Warriors, bro. You know what I mean?
Well, Luke and Kyrie. Well, the only reason I say that because Clay wasn't Clay at that time.
Definitely.
Draymond was still your playmaker. Had it not been for Jordan Poole, I know he catches a lot of flack now, but had it not been for Jordan Poole, they probably would not have won that series against the Boston Celtics.
I agree.
You know, but
he definitely did step up.
I don't know, man. Boston's gonna have to show me something. They're gonna have to show me that they've grown up, and they're gonna have to show me that they have that killer instinct. Because if they don't,
well, they and I think that's the reason why I said that. I feel like it will play to their advantage because they've already been here before. So it's like we've been here, we've been on the big stage before. You know what I mean? At this point, what we got to go ahead and do now is make sure we take care of business. As long as we take care of business, we'll hoist that trophy at the end of the series. So, like you said, did you keep? That's it. Am I good? Yeah.
Yeah. You
said what now?
No, you froze up for a second.
Oh, okay. So I'm saying, yeah, if they play down to competition, then yeah, this is going to be a series for sure, and it can go either way, you know. But I also tell people too, as well, is that depending how Luka and depending on how Kyrie play. If they did anything like how they did in game, was that 5 or 6 or whenever they just won, when they both had like, I want to say 30 or some apiece. If they play like this every game and then have contributions.
Game 4?
Yeah, game 4 or 5, I think. Well, whatever the closing game was, I think what it was is that when they both.
No. Game 3 because the Timberwolves won game 4 and then Mavericks closed it out game 5. So I think it was game 5 is game 3. Game 5 is the game I'm talking about where they came out and Luka was, I think, 12 for 12. I think he had 20 points in the first quarter. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. So if him and Kyrie play that, you know, to where they both scored 30 apiece and still a well-balanced offensive machine, as well as they're taking care of business on defense, then yeah, Boston can go ahead and be in it for you know, for a fight of their life. You know.
So with all that said, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, like, one of them has to, you know, they both have to step up in order for them to go ahead and take care of business.
All right, so with all that said, we just talked about. You still think Boston's gonna be a landslide? You said 4 games, 5 games. You don't think it's going 6?
I don't think it's going 6 or 7.
Wow. You got
No,
Boston.
it'd be very, very shocking.
I feel like that's disrespectful to what the Mavs been doing.
Hey, listen. They were a sleeper team for sure, and they have shown people the reason why they deserve to be in the conference finals because of the body of work they built throughout the ending of the year and then going into the playoffs. You know, a lot of people didn't have them to go ahead and go through a couple of teams that they went through. You know, they prevailed. They got to the big stage, but I honestly just don't feel like, me personally, that if Boston plays anything like they've been playing, if they play anything like they. But if Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those two mainly, if they step up and take care of their business and don't have bad shooting nights, because we know that they're
it's going to happen.
Like
That's going to happen.
They live and die by that three.
That's going to happen.
That, then yes.
I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like the Boston Celtics are going to have a couple of bad shooting games. Here's where I think it's going to go. I think Boston's going to have a couple of bad shooting games. I feel like Dallas is going to win those games. So let's give Dallas 2 of those games. 2 bad shooting nights.
Right.
So I got Dallas giving 2 games. I feel like Dallas is going to win a close one. So I feel like that's going to be 3 games that Dallas wins. And that's why I'm saying, that's why I feel like it might go 7, because I'm like, okay, if you give Dallas a close game and you give them 2 games by not shooting well, which I feel like Dallas will take advantage of, that's why I feel like it can go 7.
Who's the better road team out of this series?
I believe Boston. I believe Boston.
Boston already beat them, and then Boston had already beat them twice this year when they did play in their matchup.
But I believe that's before the trade. I could be wrong.
Okay. So
I believe that's before the trade.
Okay.
I know at least one of those games was before the trade, because I remember seeing the highlights and was like Grant Williams was still on the team and he wasn't there by
right, definitely.
But I
do feel like, like for me, I give the Mavs 2 games probably max, just because the NBA doesn't. I feel like would want something to end that early.
Oh, of course not.
And then the shit goes away.
So what you're saying? So what you're saying? You saying refs are going to play a part? What you mean? I mean, they've been playing a part. I hate to say it. They've been playing a part.
You know what I mean? This is me. They call spade a spade, man. They've been playing a part. There's been some blown calls, bro, throughout these series, bro. You know what I'm saying? Through a lot of teams that made the playoffs.
All right, well, let's get to the second topic. We're still talking about these NBA finals. I'm curious to know, in your opinion, who will be the most important player in this series between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks? Obviously, you're picking the Celtics, right? So I'm assuming your important player is going to come from that side. So, but it might be, we'll see. What's your thoughts? Who's going to be the most important player in this series?
I feel like the most important player for the Celtics, because we know Tatum's going to go ahead and get his. We know that. I do feel like Jaylen Brown has to step up big time. Yeah, I think he has to be the Batman to the Robin. You know what I mean?
So you think he's Batman and Tatum is Robin, or Tatum is Batman?
Tatum is Batman for sure. But in this series, I'm saying he's gonna have to go ahead and step up. Tremendously in order for that to go ahead and happen. I feel like Tatum will be the X factor in my opinion as far as out of that starting 5. We know Derek's gonna go ahead and get his. We know Horford's gonna go ahead and get his. Porzingis is still coming off that injury, so we don't know how he's gonna look when he comes back. He has to go ahead and get his win right, get his conditioning back up. On that manner, we know Tatum's gonna go ahead and get his too as well. So it goes to show, and it seems like to me, if I had to choose anybody out of that starting 5, it's gonna happen with Jaylen
Brown. Sure. Okay. To me, the most important player, man. I'm gonna say Kyrie Irving. For a couple reasons.
I can agree with you.
The reason I say that is because I think we know what we're gonna get out of Luka. Luka's gonna come. Luka's gonna average a triple double this series. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna average 30 points. 12 rebounds. 13 assists. You know what I'm saying? I feel like his stats are going to be crazy in this NBA Finals. I don't feel like anybody's going to stop him. Like I said, I do feel like Jrue Holiday is going to try to. They're going to give him the assignment to try to slow him down. But I just feel like Luka's just too good. You're not going to stop Luka Doncic.
I feel like him or Derek. I feel like Derek White will be able to go ahead and add some frustration to him. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if they do switch off, and pick and rolls and things like that, regardless of whether it's Jrue Holiday on you or Derek on you know what I'm saying? You're going to have...
Now, going off that point you just made, that's why I said Kyrie, because if you do happen to bother Luka, right? Kyrie, you have to step it up. You're going to have to take that scoring load on. Say Luka gets in foul trouble, right? you're going to need somebody who can play one-on-one, who can create their own shot.
Definitely.
You know, somebody who's going to keep the offense going and keep it consistent while Luka's, on the bench with foul trouble, or maybe he's getting rest. I don't see him. If nobody's in foul trouble, I don't see anybody just getting crazy rest. Like, everybody's going to play about 40 minutes, at least 30, 35, 38 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
The rotation for I feel like the finals is probably what, a 6 or 7 man rotation, maybe max, maybe 8. But that might be pushing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I do feel like,
like you said, Luka does go to the bench, or if he does have a bad game or he does get in foul trouble, then Kyrie, bro, you're gonna have to be that X factor, bro. And
really also too, and the reason I say Kyrie as well, because Boston has so many scorers. They that whole starting five could score. Porzingis, Tatum, Brown, White, Holiday. That whole five can score. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So, and that's the thing too. Now, we haven't talked much about Porzingis, him coming off that injury, right? I feel like, and let's be real, like there's a reputation. He has a reputation of being kind of soft on defense.
Right.
Doesn't really play a lot of defense. You can kind of get into his head, beat him up a little bit. Still, he has more size to him now than he did early in his career, but you can still kind of, you know what I'm saying, rough him up a little bit.
Push him off the block. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, get him off his spots, make him uncomfortable a little bit, right? So I feel like that's going to be an important thing. Will they try to force it to him, right? Like, oh, you haven't been around, so let's dink and dunk him a ball instead of keeping the flow going of what they had with the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be interesting. How do they implement him back into the mix?
Going into the finals. I was him coming back in off the injury. I would just, I'm going to go ahead and go with the flow. Y'all already had a flow going on. This is what got after my injury. Let's go ahead and keep it up. I'm back. The only thing I can go ahead and do is contribute to wherever I can go ahead and contribute at. Whether it's to pick and pop, pick and roll to put me down in a mismatch in a low block, then cool. But one thing he has to definitely go ahead and do is he has to step up on the defensive side and guard them young bulls. So you have to be athletic in order for them to go ahead and do that for Dallas.
So I'm going to adjust the question a little bit, because now I kind of like, now that we're talking about him, I almost want to say who's the most important player for each team, because I kind of want to say Porzingis for the Boston Celtics, because again, how do you implement him? Do y'all force it to him? He's going to have to play defense against Lively. I could see him getting in foul trouble. You know what I mean? Trying to guard those pick and rolls, and you know what I mean.
Say that in this manner, for me, it would have to be Al Horford if that was the case.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So Al Horford is going to have to go ahead and be the defensive person to go in there, block shots, take charges.
Old man Horford, huh? Old man Horford.
Yeah, old man Horford. You know what I mean? It's crazy to call him an old man, but he has to go ahead and step up and be like, all right, you know what? I'm the vet on this team. I'll go ahead and make sure that, I'll do the dirty work. Y'all worry about everything else. Whenever you guys need to hit a big three or a couple little twos here and there, I'll do it. But other than that, all this other stuff on the defensive side of the ball and on the rebound and frustrating players, you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm going to go ahead and do.
And
so
also,
I do feel like it would be Horford because, like I said, Porzingis is, I don't know how many games he's missed, but he's just now coming back into the flow of things. I know I said beforehand, he's trying to get his mobility up. He's trying to get his
conditioning.
I'm
sure he's been working on that this last week or so. They're probably
a little while for him to go ahead and get there.
Yeah.
Right. So I would only expect him to be like, just come in and play a role player, bro. We don't really need you to be the Porzingis you were before this injury had happened. Because if you do, then I feel like you're going to go ahead and mess with the chemistry of what they already have going on.
That's what I'm saying. That might be
that
might be something nobody's really talking about. That might be something nobody's really talking about. Him kind of coming in. I don't want to say messing up the chemistry, but just kind of like they've been playing without him for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? They just won a whole series without him. So that's like implementing him back into the NBA Finals, huge stage, his first time. Now, we haven't talked about this as well. Porzingis being a former Maverick and Kyrie being a former Celtic. Now we kind of got that. We kind of got that, in the back of everybody's mind, because you got that mental game, because is Luka gonna be barking at Porzingis? Is gonna be talking? Luka was wolfing that last series against some dudes. He was So is he gonna be barking at Porzingis? Is that gonna get into his head? Kyrie or the fan? The fans. Kyrie, the fans are gonna give it to you. The fans will give it to you, Kyrie.
I want that. I want that for the NBA Finals. This is what I want. So that's what's going to happen. The bark is going to go ahead and begin, and the chirping back and forth is what's going to go ahead and have whoever's going to play to what level and who's going to downplay. If Porzingis does downplay, it's like, okay, well, bro, at the end of the day, you're being a pussy. Let me just say it in so many words, and you can't allow that. You know what I mean? Like, you're 7 foot, 240, 50 pounds, maybe 260. Like, just go in there and dominate, bro. Go in there
and
do what you got to go ahead and do.
Yeah, so my X factor is definitely Kyrie because I feel like, again, you're going against the Avengers right now. You got a starting five, everybody could score. So you have to, I think it's going to be a whole lot on Kyrie because, again, we know Luka's going to come out doing his thing. But also, too, the other Mavericks going to have to do their thing, too. But I feel like Kyrie, you're that second guy. You know what I'm saying? So you have to show up. It can't be no Kyrie 15-point games in the NBA Finals. It can't be no 17-point games. Kyrie, 25 points and up. This series. Kyrie, you have to average 25 points and up this series in order for the Dallas Mavericks to win.
Luka have to go ahead and do it. They both have to go ahead and average over 25 a game in order for them to even remotely have
a shot. Yeah,
of winning. You know, they don't. If one only does 15 a game, another one does 23, 24 a game.
That's a loss. That's a loss.
Yeah,
because at that point, where's your scoring coming from if you're the Mavericks?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? PJ Washington can only do so much. Derek Jones can only do so much. You know, Tim Hardaway, I don't know if he's hurt. I feel like he don't even play no more.
Yeah, I'd really been seeing him.
He don't even play. He's up the row. He's up the rotation, so I don't know if he's hurt or what. But yeah, he hasn't really been coming in. I feel like you might see him in the NBA Finals a couple minutes here and there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get a couple
veteran player,
get a couple shots. Yeah. I think he's going to come in, but you will see him. But yeah, he hasn't played too much. But as far as
he's going to have to figure it out, man. He's going to have to figure it out.
He's going to have to get creative.
Productivity from somebody, man. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got to get creative. You know what I mean? So if one of them cats is not having a good game, you have to go ahead and look down at that bench and be like, all right, who's the next man in? They can go ahead and step up and take on what we need to go ahead and take on. Yeah.
So as far as we talked about important players, just real quick, give me like an X factor for each team. Somebody who's like maybe you wouldn't expect, or to have a big game. Somebody who might have a big game that might turn the tide in one of these games during the series.
Lively.
Yep. I was gonna say PJ Washington. I was gonna say PJ.
Yeah, I was gonna say Lively. I'll say Lively.
I feel like,
and I'm thinking. Has to be that person, bro.
You cut out. Say that one time.
Al Horford.
So you say Horford.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say PJ Washington. I can see him having like a 20-point game, having like a crazy 3-point, because I feel like they're gonna double Luka, double Kyrie, and he's gonna be opening that corner.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely gonna do that for sure.
I feel like there's gonna be a game to where it's gonna be a PJ Washington game, and I feel like he's gonna be X factor. I feel like that might turn the tide for the Boston Celtics. I'm gonna say, let me try to, I'm gonna say Drew Holiday. And I know we expect him. I know we expect him to play defense and be consistent, but I feel like he might have a big offensive game one of these games. And he's not really
Drew Holiday. He's the Drew Holiday where they won in Milwaukee.
I feel like he might have a game to where he scores over 20, gets some buckets, and it's like, oh, okay, it might be a game to where Tatum, maybe might have an off night. Jaylen Brown might have an off night. I feel like Drew Holiday might have a game to where it's like, oh,
definitely,
okay.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna say Drew Holiday.
We know Derek. We know and get his. Yeah. We know Tatum and Brown's gonna go ahead and get theirs too as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yes, I agree that it can be either. You can either exchange for Horford for Holiday or vice versa. But one of them cats do have to go ahead and step up and at least have one or two games to where it's over 15 points.
Yeah.
It had to be a whole 30. You know what I mean? If it's a whole 30, that just means that Jayson and what's called Jaylen are not doing it. You know what I mean? No productivity from their big stars.
Yeah.
So we'll have to just wait to see what actually plays out with that.
Nah, definitely. So I will say this, man. I think it's gonna be a great NBA Finals, man. I can't wait for Thursday.
It's different. It's definitely new blood. It's definitely new blood that's here. It's not the same typical teams that we're used to seeing. With other players that's never been on the platform of being a household name out there for them to go ahead and get recognized and things of that nature too as well. So,
but I feel like that's where the NBA is going. NBA is going, and also too, again. So y'all know, this is our home base team is when I say home base, I mean for this channel is the Kings, right? I feel like the Kings, right. Man, I feel like the Kings, man, you make a couple trades here and there, man, they might be able to get in the mix next year. But we're gonna talk about the Kings right now. It's been a while since we've been able to kind of touch on them. We really didn't. Again, like I said, we were kind of off the whole season, so we do apologize for that. But just recently, Mike Brown did just sign a new contract for the Kings. They finally were able to get that done. Can you tell me the numbers on that contract one more time, please?
I think it was for $10 million a year.
How many years?
I don't know the years on that joint. I know it was for 10 though. 10 million.
Let me look that up real quick.
Let's see. And I know more of it's Let me see.
Mike Brown contract.
So,
All right,
so average is $10 million. I don't know how many years he signed for an additional though.
All right, so it was an extension. I believe he had one more year, which is going to be this coming season, and so he just got an extension. So he was seeking $10 million annually.
Annually, right?
So he was going to make 4.5 next year. So it looks like the deal carries a base salary of $8.5 million with bonuses.
26-27 season
with bonuses that could reach $10 million a year.
$10 million, right?
So it's a 3-year deal. So what do you think that means for the Kings, man? Do you feel like we're going to see? Well, let's just talk about this. We didn't make the playoffs. And I've been wanting. I know for a while I've been wanting to get on this channel and talk about that. I'm like, man, let's get on. But we've had trouble. I had the doctor's appointments, and you had stuff. So we had a lot of stuff going on. But I did want to talk about that before the season was over. We did not make the playoffs. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know if y'all remember, but we made a video early in the year, and I said, the Kings might not even make the playoffs. And y'all, I mean, you and Dope was like, what? I'm like, man, because we were going through all the teams in the West, and I was looking, I was like, y'all, I'm like, Kings might not even make the playoffs. Remember I said that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to bring in that clip and put it right here. I'm gonna try to edit it right here. I'm looking at Memphis. I'm looking at Minnesota, and I'm looking at a couple teams that could possibly get in. Is maybe like a OKC and then like a Pelicans. I like OKC. I like the Pelicans. I just feel like Dallas is coming. I just don't see Kyrie and Luka just not making the playoffs. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's gonna be tough for the Kings to make this playoffs, bro. And I didn't want to say that. It's gonna be tough. I know we were third last year, but the Lakers were down and hurt. Dallas was in a mess. They were, you know what I'm saying? They were trying to figure things out.
And they still
Minnesota, you know what I'm saying? But it's gonna be tough for these Kings to make the playoffs.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a great season for the West.
But what I'm saying is they might fall out though. You know what I'm saying? They might fall out. Yes. I'm gonna put that clip right here.
The cold part about it is though, man, like to kind of say, all right, well, you know what? I felt like where you didn't see the vision at is, yes, they brought back the whole original team. I would say I don't think they made any difference, you know, as far as roster wise goes. But what actually played them out of a playoffs to play into the playing game is once Monk got hurt, and we all know that Monk was a big contributing factor for them.
I don't know. But the only
the Kings they started slipping.
But I wouldn't say that's the only thing, because there was games that Monk was in that they were lose. Kings lost a whole bunch of games that they lost that they should have won, and I could think of about at least 10 of them that they lost that they should have won. That would have put them over 50 games. And I'm not saying that, okay, even if they, out of the 10 games that I'm thinking about, even if they won 6 of them, you're probably in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I want to say they missed it by like, you know, or whatever, but at least, you know, but, and then like just the play-in game was a bad matchup because the Pelicans had our number all season. So
all year long, definitely.
But how much of that falls on Mike Brown and giving him this new contract? Are you confident in him moving forward, being able to figure this out and getting the Kings back into the playoffs? Remember, we finished third in the West 2 seasons ago. So
2 seasons ago, right? Definitely.
I mean, what's the expectation now with Mike Brown signing this contract? I mean, I would think playoffs and having success in the playoffs. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you know, the ownership, the front office, they look at him as being their guy with Mike Brown. You know, at this point, I don't really see any other options that were out there that were better for this team outside of Mike Brown.
Well, you had to sign him. You had to sign him.
And that's why I felt like they needed to go ahead and sign him, because I felt like this was the best possible options they had to go ahead and try to still succeed, make the playoffs, and possibly make a deeper run into the playoffs. I do feel like going forward, though, they're going to have to figure out this roster.
We'll talk about that next. We're going to talk about that next.
Yeah, they're going to have to react. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but they definitely have the roster they're going to go ahead and go with into next season. But I do feel like Mike Brown, this is your opportunity. They're allowing you to go ahead and still continue to coach. They, you know, can't see something in you. Now it's on you to go ahead and produce with your coaching staff. on what needs to go ahead and happen going forward and how to make this team better and make them someone to fear in the Western Conference. Because if you see, the Western Conference is a very, very stacked conference.
Yeah.
So Mike is going to have to go ahead and continue to keep up with the rest of the competitions going on within that conference.
Now,
and if he doesn't, who knows?
Now we did lose Jordy Fernandez, who was our assistant on the Kings, and he was a high ranking. I want to say he was like the damn near like assistant head coach on our team, and like he had a lot of interest across the league to be the head coach, but he ended up signing, I believe, as a Brooklyn Nets head coach. So he's out there, but really, really good offensive mind, and so we're losing him. I don't know if Mike Brown has replaced him yet. I haven't seen or heard anything. I'm definitely going to look into that after our pod is over, but I'm interested to see how he's going to replace him. So, he has some things to think about as far as the coaching staff, I believe. I think, Mike Brown is a very good coach. I wouldn't want to hire anybody else. I'm glad we extended it. But at the same time, I feel like, man, like we got to the scheme has to, there needs to be some adjustments in this scheme. And what I mean is, I feel like late in the season, like, he was trying to get guys going and try to see what he had on his bench. But these were some guys who weren't even playing. Like,
right.
Oh no, we're done, buddy. But these were some guys who weren't even playing, right? So I feel like you were trying to get Sasha going late in the season. He was getting extended minutes. He wasn't playing during the season though. You know what I mean? So it's like now you're expecting him to come in, and again, Monk was hurt, so you kind of had to look, okay, next man up, right? But I feel like guys like that, you should have got them going earlier in the season. Running some plays, because I don't think that we ever ran any sets for like size. Now I did like what Keon Ellis did. We found it, and I liked him. And I said that last year too. I like Keon Ellis.
Yeah, you did.
I like Keon Ellis.
X factor for sure.
Yes.
Definitely.
So I keep him on the roster. Keep him, in the mix of what we got going on. But I'm very interested to see what Mike Brown's going to do, especially with his rotations. The scheme. Yeah,
you got to definitely, man, throughout the season, man, I feel like you got to go ahead and kind of piggyback off what you were saying, is that you got to kind of, tweak the lineup a little, put some players in there so that way when it does go ahead and go into deeper runs late into the season, possibly for playoff positioning and things of that nature, you kind of got an understanding of what's going to happen and who you're going to go ahead and play when you start to tighten up. As you go ahead and go into the playoffs and deep into possibly a finals run. Yeah. So I do feel like they need to figure that out early on. I don't know why he didn't, but that's something that him and his coaching staff is going to go ahead and have to figure out moving forward. Like, okay, how can we get these other players to play to see what we can go ahead and do collectively and make this actually work?
No, I definitely feel like it was the right move. Like, again, to extend Mike Brown, that's what I wanted. But
I feel like there was no other options that were out there.
But
I felt like,
for me, and I know you remember this too, I felt like, and I said this, I believe I'm referring back to the same video when I said the Kings weren't going to make the playoffs. I said you can't run this team back. You cannot run this team back and expect different results.
Yeah,
I said that.
You definitely did say that. Yes,
because I felt like other teams were getting better, which they did, right? And we just kind of stood pat, and we didn't really add new
pieces.
Pieces to be like, oh, like that, we really didn't do that. The only thing we did was re-sign Harrison Barnes, which I didn't even want to do. I feel like they should have made a push for Kyle Kuzma, which is ironic now because now he's back in trade talks, and I heard some rumors about him possibly being linked to the Kings again, things like that. Monte McNair is the guy who I feel like is going to be our X factor in this offseason. Mike Brown can only do so much. Mike Brown can only do so much, but Monte McNair, you have to be the one to put this roster together. So next I'm going to ask you, do the Sacramento Kings need to make a trade in order to get better? And if so, what type of players do you think would fit on this current roster? Along with Sabonis, along with Fox, and also let's talk about Malik Monk. Resigning him, I think that's a priority now. But let's just talk about it. Trades, roster moves. What's your thoughts?
Well, like we said earlier, and like we said, at the beginning of our podcast a couple episodes ago, when we talked about it at the very beginning of the season, the Kings definitely do need to go ahead and make some moves. You cannot stay put with this roster, or you can't do just the bare minimum of getting a couple of players here and there. No. It just won't work. Mm-mm. You know, so whatever you got to go ahead and do to possibly Kevin Huerter's contract. I mean, even Davion Mitchell, for that matter. You know, you're gonna have to figure out how to get creative with what you have as far as from a salary cap standpoint. Mm-hmm. You know, where can we go ahead and get better players at? You know what I mean, with these trades possibly. Mm-hmm. I do feel like Harrison Barnes can be traded. I don't know what his trade value is right now on the market.
Well, he's definitely they're saying he's on the market right now. Trade, he's on the trade block.
Well, yeah, he should have been on the market. He should have been on the market 2 years ago. I felt like, he should be on the trade block. To be honest with you, they should have unloaded him.
And it's crazy
at the trade deadline. He should have been gone.
And it's crazy. The same thing I've been saying is what I've been hearing. They're saying a Herder, Barnes draft pick package, and that's what I've been saying. Like package those three assets up, draft picks, Herder and Barnes, and you can get. Who knows? Maybe you can get a Brandon Ingram. Maybe you can get a Paul George. Maybe you can get even a Zach LaVine. Somebody who could score, be that other guy, along with Keegan, Fox, Sabonis. Yes. And if you re-sign Monk, now you're looking back. You're back in the mix. Now you're looking like that number 3 seed again. You looking at, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And then you win that first round. Okay, now you win the second round. Now you're playing around with championship type caliber runs. You know what I'm saying, in the playoffs.
Yeah. And then it's allowed other players that want to go ahead and come play for your organization. Okay, Sacramento's a smaller market for sure, but
if you want to win,
what they're building over there. Right. We're seeing what you're building over there. We're seeing you guys are building a contender. You guys are actually winning now, and you guys are just like one piece or two pieces away from actually, either qualifying or for actually winning it all. And at this point, I mean, for me, I don't know what draft pick the Kings have right now.
I believe 13th. The draft is not that 13th.
13?
13th
yeah,
pick,
the draft is not that deep this year. There's not a good quality player, a good amount of quality players that are out there right now. Mm-hmm. So I do feel like that 13th pick, if that is the case, hey, package it up. I don't care if you got to package it up with Herder. I don't care if you got to package it up with Herder. Or you got to package it up with just Barnes. Get rid of it. Get you some better quality players back in return. That are proven guys. That can go ahead and come in here and actually help change this culture and this organization and get back to being winners and contenders.
Yeah.
But yes, I do feel like, Davion might have to be one of the ones that get moved to as well. Don't know what his trade market is out there.
Is he still signed? Do we still have him signed? I'm not sure if he's still under contract. I believe he's still under contract. I believe he is.
Okay, Okay, well, you still have, like I said, you have him. I wasn't really big, you know what I mean? I've been said I
weren't. Well, we talked about him last summer, too.
I mean, right, we did. And then Herder, I mean, he hasn't lived up to his contract expectations since he signed with us.
Not consistent enough. Atlanta. Not consistent enough.
Yeah, he hasn't been consistent enough. And then, like I said, Harrison Barnes, I don't know, man. I just feel like he's either dwindling or I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's just like, I'm here to be here to collect or if I'm here to go ahead and actually play.
I think sometimes your time is just up for the role that you play for your team sometimes. And I feel like when he was with us, we didn't have a lot going on. We didn't have Sabonis. I think we just got Fox. He was early in his career. We weren't talking about playoffs or anything like that. Now he was a veteran, good locker room guy. It was good to have him. And he has some big games for us. But I feel like now it's time. Like when you're the Kings, you're talking about taking that next step. We just saw the Timberwolves step it up. OKC. Yes. We talked about OKC all the teams we talked about last summer did it. We talked about OKC. We talked about the Timberwolves. You know what I mean?
Yep, the Mavs.
We talked about. Remember, I said the Mavs. I'm like, bro, they weren't in the playoffs. They weren't even in the playoffs the previous year, and now they're in the NBA Finals. You know what I'm saying? So I said that. I said the Mavs are going to be back in it. We talked about OKC. Yep. I said OKC's going to make a run. I said the Pelicans are going to make a run. They ended up beating us.
Sure did.
You know what I mean? So it's just the West is not it's not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
no, not at all.
You have no choice. You have no choice but to get better. And again, I know some people talk about, I've been seeing like on Instagram and things like that, people talk about, you need depth. You can't just go get a player. You need depth. Well, we just talked about the Mavericks and the Celtics only being about 6-7 deep.
Yes.
So let's talk about this, right? Okay. So let's just say hypothetically, you're able to get, I'm going to say Paul George or Brandon Ingram, right? All right. So now you have Sabonis. Yeah. Let's just say Sabonis, Ingram, Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Keon Ellis, Malik Monk, keep a Sasha, go get a backup center.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you get everybody stay healthy.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know,
this is like where the sky's the limit at that point. You know.
Yeah.
I also talked about. I know that me and you've had phone conversations and things of that nature. Is I do feel like the Kings have to figure out what they're going to go ahead and do with Sabonis. Do you want to play the 5 or do you want to play the 4?
Oh,
me personally,
I made a whole video about that. Him being out of position.
I want him to slide to the 4. I know that was the reason why he wanted to go ahead and leave Indiana 4. He wanted to play the 5, and I think that was the reason why they traded him. But hey, bro, you know,
and some of y'all on the comment,
you got to do what's best for the team, bro.
Some of you guys, I know y'all remember that video. Some of y'all were commenting on that video when I said Sabonis is playing out of position, and y'all were like, "Oh, nah." But now look, he's always in foul trouble, and I feel like with him, especially in the West, you don't really want him guarding not all the time the Jokic's, like. You know what I'm saying?
AD,
like, because he's the AD.
You know, he dominated AD this year. You don't want to play that.
Because once he gets in foul trouble, which he does often, who do we have?
Yes. Nobody.
So if you could have a center just to take the defensive load off of him, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know we're talking about Alex Lynn, possibly going to get Alex Lynn to come over to play.
Well, we got him, but he ain't really doing. We need. I don't know who's out there, and we definitely got to talk about that this summer. We have a whole long summer to talk about it, but I'm going to be interested to see the free agents that are available, the guys who are on trade blocks. I know. Early rumors were Jared Allen may be on the trade block. He would be perfect alongside Sabonis.
Yes, he would. Yes,
because he could guard the center and he could stretch the floor. So block shots, shot blocker, he'd be perfect. So, but if you got somebody like him, you probably couldn't get that wing in like a Paul George or like a Kuzma or like an Ingram. You got to commit to one or the other. So if they're committed to Sabonis being the 5, okay, cool. Y'all keep him at the 5. I don't particularly like it, but we're gonna if you do that, you're going to have to get a top 5. I won't say top 5, but you're gonna have to get a wing. You're gonna have to get like a Kuzma, Ingram, George. Hey, Siakam's a free agent again. I know he didn't want to come here before the trade deadline, but he may resign with the Pacers. Who knows? I haven't heard anything about that. But if he's on the market, you got go talk to him again. Like you need a guy to fill that role. Like
I agree, 110%.
If you're gonna keep Sabonis at the 5. Now, if you're gonna move into the 4, go look at like a Jared Allen trade. Go look at like a somebody like that. But it's gonna be interesting to see what Monte McNair does, man. But you cannot come back with this same team if they come back with the same team. It's not gonna work.
If they come back with the same team, man, honestly, Monte McNair, he might need to start looking at another position or another job. Yeah, honestly, because now not only are you putting yourself at odds, you're also putting Mike Brown at odds because you're.
Yep.
You're really play with.
You're not giving him enough. You're not giving him enough to win.
Exactly. So it's like, hey, where are we going to get this from? And like I said, I mean, for me, it's going to have to be
at Sacramento. You got the 13th pick. You could dangle that along with Harrison and Herter.
Yes.
And somebody might bite on that. Like,
yes, I agree.
That's a hell of a package. You get the 13th pick and two decent players, especially if you're a team that doesn't need a whole lot. You just need a couple veteran guys to come in your locker room who's not going to disrupt the chemistry. Herter's a good shooter when he's on. Barnes, good veteran right now.
He's an older veteran guy now.
And you got the 13th pick that you could use that. You could hold on to it, maybe trade up, trade that. Like, I mean, I don't know. Who knows? But I don't know, man.
I would get rid of it. I would get rid of it.
I would too. Now, I heard they're going to keep that pick. I don't know how true that is, but I'm interested to see who they're looking at. We could talk about that.
Who they're going to go get, though, with that pick. Who do you go get?
We can talk about that next video because what I want to do, I want to start looking up and seeing what the word is about that. Like, who are they looking at 13 and what type of player are they looking at? I would think it would have to be a stretch big or a wing. There's like, you don't need anything else. You don't need a guard. I agree. And unless you feel like that Malik Monk price tag is a little too high and you're looking for somebody.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like that price tag on Malik Monk is gonna be
so you think he's gone?
I mean, I know he sees the chemistry that's there. He sees the style he fits in really well there in Sacramento. And he's playing with like I said, his college teammate, best friend, in Fox. So it's kind of like, well, hey, do I really want to go ahead and leave? And if I do leave, what I'm going to go ahead and go? If I'm going somewhere, I need to go ahead and go to somewhere where I know it's going to be a contender. Somebody that's going to be playing for the playoffs. You know what's
crazy? I'm not even sure if he's worried about that. I think he wants his bag. And the reason I say that, because the reason I say that is because you only get so many years to really get paid in the NBA.
Definitely.
You know, and I feel like he had a really good year to where he showcased what he's able to bring to a team. And I feel like that's going to be very important for him in these negotiations heading into free agency because, bro, somebody's going to throw a bag at him. I heard Orlando was looking at him.
If you let him walk, though, I mean, what are you going to go ahead and do? Where are you going to go get the productivity from if you let him walk? Or if you go ahead and do a sign and trade deal, like what do you get back in return? Well, here's my thing. You let him walk and you don't get nothing back, or
you let him walk. You better come with you have to go get like a Paul George or something. You better you have to.
Oh, like you said, I mean, or even package him up. You know what I mean? Package him up with a 13 pick. You know, sign and trade. Package him up with a 13 pick. You know what I mean, or something like that. So that way you know. Return.
Oh, you cut out. You said so. You know.
You said what's that?
You cut out a bit. You said so. You know, you're getting something back in return. You said
back in return, right? Okay. You got to definitely get something back in return. If Monk is not willing to go ahead and just be like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get paid, but I'm not going to go ahead and just stick you guys over the head because I know where you guys are going to go ahead and allocate the rest.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're going to get the bag, and then Orlando might be your best bet. I mean, it's not a bad team. They made a playoff run this year too as well.
Man.
So like, what do you want? And Monte McNair, what are you going to do to go ahead and get creative with this roster?
Yeah.
You know, with these players.
I got my.
What do you and Mike Brown and the rest of you guys will sit down and talk about and how to improve this roster? Because if you guys don't, it's going to be another disappointing season. And then from there, it's like, okay, well, what do we do? So now to sit back and just wait. Okay, well, we got next year. If we do next year, then
no.
What's about it next year?
Because here's my thing too, and I think I said this in our text thread. You know, you have Sabonis and Fox in their prime right now. Yes. You can't waste prime years. You cannot waste these two guys' prime years. You have to add pieces around. You have to add pieces around them. Keep Keegan, keep Keon Ellis. Yes. If you're able to retain Malik Monk and then package up Harrison. This is what I would do. I'm retaining Monk. I'm packaging up Harrison. I'm packaging up Herter along with that 13th pick, and I'm getting a third. I'll say star, maybe all-star caliber player to go along with Sabonis and to go along with Fox. Yeah, and you still got Keegan who can go off for 30. You still got, and then you still have Monk who can go off for 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but that's why I would keep, Davion because at that point you don't need him to be this crazy scorer. Just come in, you know the system, you know your role already, and one thing we cannot say about him is that he doesn't play defense. He does. He plays defense. He definitely does. So I would keep him.
Man, he's just undersized, man. If he was a little bit bigger, height wise,
true. But he be working on them guards though. He be putting in work on those guards.
For sure, I agree.
We do have a whole off season coming up to talk about these Kings. It's going to be interesting. We have the NBA draft coming up. Oh, this month. Late this month.
Yes, we do.
The draft is in June.
14, 15.
It's already June. Wow. Wow. This year's gone, man. But not man. So man, we back at it, man. I feel like this is a really dope conversation we had today. Next time, hopefully we can get Teddy White on here. He did try to chime in late, but by that point we were already pretty much done with all the topics.
So
we're definitely gonna try to get all three of us back on here again. Like I said, we got a whole lot to come up. We haven't even had game one yet, so we're definitely going to come back. We're going to talk about each game as the series goes. We're going to touch on game one. Probably maybe Thursday night, or if not, we'll upload something on Friday. We'll talk about that,
definitely,
and so forth. We're going to touch on each game, stuff like that. It should be fun, man. It should be a good NBA Finals. Should be a productive offseason for the Kings. We also have the Olympics coming up, so we have the USA team to talk about.
Yes,
it's gonna be a busy summer, man. So there's a ton of basketball content this summer.
It is for sure.
And then the Olympics kind of help it the summer go by faster when it comes to the NBA. Mm-hmm. Because once the Olympics are over, now you only got about 2 months and you're right back in it.
Definitely.
Also, too, just kind of off topic, if anybody's interested, me and Dope Boy are thinking about starting a football pod with the 49ers being our home base
49ers,
team.
yes, sir. Got
so
to.
we're thinking about doing that, man. But, we're going to see. And if we do that, we're definitely going to kind of do some cross promotion. Hopefully y'all don't mind. And, what I'm saying? If you like football, you can come over there and come chop it up with us and subscribe to the channel and hit us up over there.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Get it going over there as well. But, man, anything else you got to say, man? We, man,
just keep tuning in, keep supporting us. Like I said, man, we had a little layoff for sure. A little long layoff.
Hey, little.
Yeah, a little long layoff. To where, that
was a while, but
just continue to keep supporting us. You know what I mean? We're going to definitely get on board more to be able to film and bring content to you guys. So that way, you guys go ahead and share and like, subscribe, comment. We'll definitely comment back. Follow. We'll follow too as well. So just continue to keep supporting us, and we'll support you guys as well.
Definitely appreciate you guys tapping in. Be sure to comment what you think about any of the topics we touched on, as far as the NBA Finals, Mike Brown, Monte McNair, trades, roster moves with the Kings. We want to hear all of it. And we will be back later this week. Like I said, probably after game 1.
Definitely.
But it is Monday. I don't know. We might do something before that. I don't know. Maybe we get Teddy White on here tomorrow or Wednesday. We might do something. We'll see. But I don't know. But either way, this week we're going to be back at y'all. So definitely tap in with us. And, man, we're going to get y'all in. All that no rim. Let's go.